Hey everyone, today we are in Northern California checking out the area, and we just found here an old bridge before they moved the road here. We're going to check out a nice culvert pipe here, and we're going to check out the amazing fish ladder below it. I just found an abandoned bridge, which is probably where the road used to be before they moved it to another more efficient location, because this looks like from back in the day it would have been a really slow going curvy road. This is a pretty cool find. Really old bridge, and it looks like it's still in relatively good shape. How high up are we? Wow, a lot higher than I thought, and look at the culvert pipe down there. Wow, and there's even a fish ladder. That's so cool looking at that from up above. Now I wonder if there's a good way to get down there. It's so nice. Just notice how the trees that are right on the stream, you look up, they're still green. I know these aren't pine trees, but any other leafy tree up on the hills, they're already losing their leaves for the year. But the ones that are starting in the water, it's like a little oasis down there. I definitely want to look for a way down here. And I feel like it might be easier to go across the road instead of, yeah, I'm not going down there. This looks like some sort of trail, but I don't see, maybe somebody has gone up and down this because it looks like it's been traveled. And there's also a lot of graffiti down there. Or maybe this trail's from whoever maintains the fish ladder, because I'm sure that clogs up pretty easily. Maybe they put a ladder against this. This is way too steep to make it down. So I'm going to go across the road, maybe find a way down, or maybe at the end of the bridge here. Yeah, this bridge isn't even the same height as the road. They really redid all this. I'll try to find a way down. Alright everyone, it's starting to get dark, but I think we're going to find an easy way down on the other side. Brought one big camera light with me. We're going over here. There's some road here. I don't know where it goes. Maybe just logging, a fire road, or maybe it's someone's house. I don't know. But we're going to enter the culvert here. Yes, it's very easy access. There's even a trail. This is probably how everyone that does the graffiti gets down here. So this area is definitely the worst I've ever seen as far as fire damage. See down here, as soon as we get down here, the grass is green, the ground is able to absorb it up to a certain extent. There's the culvert pipe. Water seems to be running very low, despite everything being still green. Hopefully we don't find anyone in this tunnel. Doubt it. Nope, we're good. Wow, I love the wall. They really took pride when they built this. You see this makeshift fish ladder here. Also helps erosion control. All right, here we go into the tunnel. I actually didn't even need my big high boots, but I didn't know what to expect in here. This is in very good condition. I don't think many fish are going to be wanting to go up here now, but when it's higher, this would definitely help. Imagine the speed of the water after a big storm. If you look up here at the ceiling, take a look at all the spider webs all over the stalactites. And it's so dirty too. With this whole area being so dry, I imagine there's going to be a lot of dust floating around getting stuck. It's not that long of a culvert. We're almost halfway. There's a big rock that got stuck. And it looks like, yeah, we got a few spider friends in here. Alrighty, we're almost out of the tunnel. The floor is very slippery, slimy. That's why I'm walking so slow. Here we are coming out. Shut the light off. And this is why I really had to come down here. I love this contraption. See how it's built? In high water, a lot of it can go off here to the side instead of it all being forced over here and jamming up the system. Look at this bridge. That's in perfect condition. I don't see anything wrong with it. No deterioration at all. It's in such great shape. Got a bunch of sandbags here. You see, when the water's a little bit higher, ideally, fish would be able to easily swim around this. Most fish would not be going up this now unless they're very small. This is so cool seeing this fish ladder. I didn't realize it was made out of lumber like this from up above. Let's see if we can walk down there to that other area and see what we got going on. From here, you see, that's, I don't know how anyone got up that unless, well, right there might be doable, actually. See how the whole floor is nice rock cemented together. Such good quality. These days, they wouldn't have cemented all those rocks together. Instead, they most likely would have gone ahead and just poured concrete all over the floor, which would erode much faster. Right now, I'm finding a way down. This is pretty steep. Got some nice dripping water that's leaking out of this. Alright, just gonna jump for it. Just looking around for angry snakes. I got my big high boots on, so that's a plus in case we tried to get bit by a snake or a snake tried to bite me. This is very treacherous trying to get up this. Maybe I'll be able to get up on the other side. So this is where the fish would have to jump. They'd have to jump up into here, jump up into there, and so on. Trying to, all right, gonna have to do this quickly. This is nice. This whole fish ladder set up. And we're all underneath this old bridge. Look at that, 1923. And it's still holding up great. Now, granted, this area does get snowstorms, but not that much. So they probably don't have to put down a lot of road salt, which really helps it last a lot longer. Also, it being a much drier climate than I'm used to, even normally. It's usually drier than what I'm used to, so that really helps too. It doesn't get as cold here, not as many freeze and thaw cycles. Really helps it last. But considering back then they really did it, they overbuilt things a lot of times. That's why it's holding up so nicely. This little valley here is literally an oasis. The trees are so much healthier than the areas where the water isn't. And as soon as I get back up there, I'm going to show you everything we saw earlier on today. All the drought damage. This area of California has been extremely dry for about the past 2 decades. But the past couple years, rain has been almost non-existent. We're going to show you around what I filmed earlier today. Most of this area is really dying out. This is where a snake might want to hide. Trying to find a way up. This might be difficult, actually. All right. Gonna have to put the camera down. All right. Needed both hands to pull myself up there. Nice crystal clear water. Now let's see if we can just climb up here. There's even a rope here to hold on to getting up. So maybe there's other ropes. Not over there, which looked like a trail, but maybe over here. It's definitely a trail. Somebody's been able to get up here. Right here looks like a good amount of footholds. I'm gonna try it. Let me put my camera up here on the ledge first. Then we'll see what we can do. I gave it a shot. I put my tripod up there first. Still couldn't do it. I know that I probably could have, but there was really not much to grab onto, and I really did not feel like falling backwards, because I'd probably be very hurt, because I'd probably fall all the way back down here. So we're gonna run back through the tunnel, and maybe I can even show you some spider friends while we're in here. There's a lot of spiders in here, mostly small ones. We're not seeing any scary ones yet. Where we are, we may actually encounter some western black widows. You can see this one right here looks like it just shed its skin. I know in my area we have the northern black widow, but if you get bit by that, it's not really a big deal. Even the western black widow, it's not that big of a deal. It's advised to get medical treatment, but it's not likely to really hurt you. Now on the other hand, the southern black widow, which most people assume I'm talking about, that one can be fatal. And that's why in the areas like that, I would definitely take more precaution. But you always got to remember, venomous snakes, venomous spiders, they do not want to hurt you. It's when you startle them or brush against them, startling them, that's when they attack. They don't mean you any harm. A lot of times they'll slither away before you even see them. All right, we're going up to the road again. It's gonna be dark pretty soon. Now I'll show you some burnt forest on our travels around the area. We just got off on the side of the road at a pretty bad area. You can see these trees here, the bark, everything, it just climbed up and burnt everything real fast. The fire wasn't hot enough to take the entire tree, but these trees look like they were already dead when the fire came through. That probably happened early spring, maybe. Because you see, it was able to grow leaves and already die off for the season. Across the road, looks like a more recent fire. Probably happened earlier this year, maybe last year. I'm thinking it may have happened earlier this year because it looks like some of the trees were able to grow their leaves back before the girdling effect really happened. Just want to take a look over here And there's also a really cool trash rack I'm now noticing on this culvert pipe for when monsoon season does start. Yep, that's a trash rack, which prevents logs and stuff from clogging up the culvert, which has got to be around here somewhere. There it is, the culvert pipe. Going across, just gonna take a quick look around this forest. So here we are. That definitely seems undersized for the amount of water that might come down here during a flood. Oop. Some of these rocks are moving around. So this is a really good idea how this is set up. These guardrails, trash rack they made, will stop any logs, large boulders from smashing their way and blocking the pipe. And this will also filter out some smaller debris that could help build up. So by looking at this area, the fire probably happened very early on, maybe last year, based on the growth. But some of these trees, it looks like, you see how they're burnt, how it was able to be girdled. They had enough energy still left to grow leaves, then die out. Not many things can grow without the rain. Pretty soon these hills might be nothing other than grass, because now the next fire that comes through, maybe next year, these trees will probably be seasoned, nice and dry. Everything will burn down, leaving nothing but hills. Without the roots, they're gonna start having big mudslides, landslides, washouts everywhere from the lack of trees holding the ground together. And it'll be nothing but grassy hills, few bushes. Only the drought tolerant stuff will be able to survive it, because trees rely on each other. A whole forest keeps the forest floor nice and wet so it can survive dry times. But it's been dry for so many years on end, it didn't matter. And now it would probably take 5-10 years of very rainy years to get these trees to start growing back to a healthy, drought tolerant state. Here's a big piece of logging machinery and a wood chip truck on the other side that just passed. Check out all these dead pine trees up on this hill. It's been so dry here in this area of California. The whole forest up there, that's all pine trees you see dead up there. It's not trees changing colors for the fall. It's all completely dead because it's been so dry. That whole mountain up there is just going to be skeleton trees probably by next year after all those dead pine needles fall. Just a severe fire hazard. Haven't seen any fires around yet, but I'm sure we will see them. Check this out. Bunch of excavators, log haulers. They're cutting down a whole bunch of the trees near this road. In case a fire does start, it'll hopefully prevent it from jumping over the road and burning down even more forest. Coming around right here, I can see that a bunch of spots, the trees have already completely died out on the mountains. No needles, no nothing. And then eventually when rainstorms do happen, that's going to result in massive mudslides, especially as the roots start becoming brittle, rotting away. And then eventually, I can imagine maybe another decade, a lot of these hills are just going to be grass covered. See right here, they're picking up some logs onto that truck. I wonder where all those logs came from. I don't see any stumps. Now As we're driving through the rest of these mountains, I have yet to see another massive die-out like I showed before. Around here, it just seems patchy on the mountains. Like 1 of every 3 trees is dead and the rest are struggling. But I do not see any more mass die-outs of the trees. Here's a good view. Not as widespread dead trees, but still a very good amount of them mixed in. Right in front of me here, probably half. And on that mountain across the way. It's just so rocky and sandy. Any water the trees do get, it doesn't last long, just evaporates. Not very good soil around here, it looks like. In front of me is another large die-out. Around this corner, a whole bunch of them. You can tell it's very recent. If I look down here, yes, this whole area burned. That also is what causes a lot of these big die-outs. There was a fire on the forest floor from all the dry debris. It heats up the bases of the trees, killing it, essentially girdling all the trees, because trees typically are only alive on the edge. The middle of the tree is done growing. So just the heat touching the bark causes a lot of these die-outs too. Take a look at that mountain right in front of us. That whole thing I can tell was in a forest fire. Now there's just skeleton trees standing up with no branches, just standing straight. And because it's so dry, especially with the sun beating down, trees rely on each other to provide shade, and that's what keeps moisture against the ground. Now that all the trees are dying out, sunshine goes right down, dries it out. So basically just grass can dry back, or just grass can grow back, unless there's multiple rainy years in a row to get the trees going again. Yep, we're getting closer to it now. That mountain right in front of us, all dead. Forest fire ripped through there. Forest fire probably ripped through all the trees around us too. It's just a few of them survived the girdling. You can really see when we get up close, the bases of all the trees are burnt. Because the fire, it's just a grass fire. It doesn't burn for long. It doesn't burn high enough to get the trees all going. Just the heat kills the base of the tree, so the whole thing, after about a month or so, will start dying off. Yeah, I can tell this whole hill next to us was on fire at some point. In front of us, I'd say a quarter of every tree is still alive. 75% of them seem to be burnt, and the rest of them are probably going to die out soon, just because the sunshine's able to reach the forest floor and help dry it out. That's why a lot of times when logging happens, thinning actually causes that, unless it's a rainy area. Look at this mountain right in front of us. That had a forest fire probably in the past couple years. You see it's completely grown back with grass, which already died off for the season, which is another incredible fire hazard. Around here, the grass is really only green in the spring months. Quickly turns brown. This looks kind of cool, this hill coming up. See how there was a landslide and it's exposing all that bright orange soil. I've never seen bright orange soil in real life. Where I'm from, it's usually caused by iron bacteria. You never see it like that. Now, the other side of the road, you see there's a lot of forest, but eventually it's going to turn into like on the left side. It looks like whenever the fire happened on the left side, it was unable to jump over there. The wood still looks pretty nice right in front of us. But as soon as we go around this corner, all these hills, mountains were all scorched recently. Not many trees are surviving. Take a look at this guy passing me around a sharp corner. I just went around a corner back there, and this guy had no idea what was back there. He could have got into a head-on collision doing that. All these hills in front of me, once beautiful forest, probably in a few years the next wave of fires, which will happen pretty easily with all the grass taking over the forest floor. It'll just flatten everything out into a grassy hill. You can even see a little bit of landslides happening up there. That's just going to get worse and worse as the trees disappear. Look on the right side of the road how some of the forest is so nice and lush. Then in the distance you can see some areas burnt, and over on the left is kind of what everything will look like afterwards. Mostly grass and scraggly trees, where forest fires once were a while back. Now you can see on the right all the trees sticking up. Look at this forest here. At least half of those trees are dead, all girdled by a forest fire along the forest floor. Then the next wave of fire will take down everything else after it's done drying out. Just look around this corner on the left. That must have been a forest fire many years ago, and only a couple bushes and scraggly trees grew back. This area is starting to look better. Definitely haven't had the forest fire rip through yet.